Welcome, Age of Vintage Society. Over the past 50 plus years, Dolly Parton has gone from a chipper country starlet to a worldwide icon of music and movies, whose fans consistently pack a theme park designed and named in her honour. Dolly Parton is loved, lauded and larger than life, and she might just be the most charitable celebrity on the planet. But even Dolly's most devoted admirers might not know all there is to this backwoods Barbie. Why Dolly Parton almost ended her life because of a cheating scandal. Make sure to watch the video until the end and leave your thoughts in the comments. If you are new here, join our wonderful community by subscribing to the Age of Vintage channel. Dolly Parton, the Queen of Country. There are few celebrities who truly deserve the title of living legend. It's a label thrown around a lot, but very rarely to people whose lives fit the bill. There's a short list of stars of a certain age whose careers have sustained long enough and whose personal lives have intrigued us deeply enough to earn them a spot. All have maintained illustriously long careers in the world of entertainment, earning them the sort of celebrity status that ensures they'll always be newsworthy. But do any of them also have a handful of theme parks named after them? No, they don't. That distinction belongs, of course, to the one and only Dolly Parton, a bona fide living legend if ever there was one. Dolly Parton is a cultural icon whose powerful voice and songwriting skills have established her as a presence on both the country and pop music charts for decades. She was born as Dolly Rebecca Parton on January 19, 1946, Locust Ridge, Tennessee. Her father worked as a tobacco farmer and her mother stayed at home. Parton grew up with 11 siblings, 6 brothers and 5 sisters. They all lived on a ramshackle farm. Her father was a sharecropper, a farmer, and did side jobs to help make ends meet. Despite being unable to read, Dolly thinks of her father as one of the smartest people she's ever met. For all of Dolly Parton's success, she doesn't shy away from discussing her humble roots. Her family was what you might call dirt poor, but Parton didn't mind. They were so poor that her parents could not afford to pay the doctor who birthed her. Instead, her father gave the doctor a bag of oatmeal for his services because it was all they had. She was bullied in school. Parton's schoolmates became jealous after she sang on local TV and locked her in a coat closet. She displayed an aptitude and passion for music at an early age, and as a child she was a featured singer and guitarist on local radio and television shows in Knoxville, Tennessee. In 1964, immediately following her high school graduation, she set out for Nashville to pursue a career in music. At age 11, Parton and her uncle Bill Owens wrote Puppy Love. The song, relatable to her age, described the hot and cold emotions felt with young love. She and her grandmother, Rena Owens, rode a bus for 30 hours to a recording studio in Lake Charles, Louisiana, so Parton could record the single. Dolly Parton's first crush was on Johnny Cash. When she was a young teenager, she was given the opportunity to perform at the Grand Ole Opry in Nashville. That's when she first saw Johnny Cash perform. Years later, she got to know Johnny Cash, and he became someone who was special to her and supportive of her career. One of Dolly's favourite songs of his is I Walk the Line. In 1965, Parton was signed by Monument Records. She really wanted to release country music. The record label didn't see Parton as a country singer and instead wanted her to record pop songs. They didn't think her voice was the right fit for the genre. Parton finally got a chance to record country music after her song Put It Off Until Tomorrow placed on the country charts at number 6. Willing to take a risk on Parton, she recorded Dumb Blonde, which went on to reach 24 on the country charts. Following up the success of Dumb Blonde, she recorded her next country single, Something Fishy, which went on to place at number 17 on the country charts. Turns out Parton had a voice fit for country. Who would have thought? Porter Wagoner talked his label RCA Victor into taking a chance and signing Parton. While Parton was putting out top 10 hit after top 10 hit with Wagoner, her early solo career wasn't doing so hot. Parton released Jolene in 1973, which would go on to top both the country charts and our hearts. Jolene was such a hit for Parton that it even went on to make it to the Billboard Hot 100. One of Parton's most famous acting roles was in the movie 9 to 5, where she plays a secretary out to get revenge on her handsy boss. Parton was nominated for 2 Golden Globes for her role, proving she isn't just a music powerhouse. She's a great actress as well. Parton has a total of 8 Grammy Awards, though she's been nominated 47 times. She held the title of most nominations of any female recording artist in history up until 2014, when Beyoncé snagged the title from her. Parton perhaps reached the apex of her mainstream success in the 1980s. She not only starred with Jane Fonda and Lily Tomlin in the 1980 hit comedy 9 to 5, which marked her film debut, but also contributed to its soundtrack. The title song, which one of the most memorable opening lines in popular music history, provided to be another #1 hit for Parton on both the pop and country charts, and earned her an Academy Award nomination. Parton next starred with Burt Reynolds and Dom DeLuise in The Best Little Whorehouse in Texas in 1982, which helped to introduce a new generation to her song I Will Always Love You. The following year she scored another major smash with Islands in the Stream, her duet with Kenny Rogers. And while it's there that her career as both a songwriter and recording artist eventually took off, that first day in the big city was also the day she met a man who's remained in the shadows for over half a century, but been an irreplaceable part of her life nonetheless, her husband, Carl Thomas Dean. For more than 50 years, the country superstar has been married to a man who prefers to remain out of the spotlight. For decades, fans have wondered about Dolly Parton's elusive husband. Parton was just 18 years old when she met her mysterious husband outside the wishy-washy laundromat, and despite the fact that falling in love and getting married were the last things on her mind, she found herself swept off her feet. I was surprised and delighted that while talking to me, he looked at my face, a rare thing for me, she said. He seemed to be genuinely interested in finding out who I was and what I was about. Parton was surprised when husband-to-be Dean entered her life. I met him the first day I got to Nashville in 1964. I graduated on a Friday night, went to Nashville on a Saturday morning with dirty clothes, and I went to a laundromat looking for anything but love. I had just left 2 boyfriends back home, she told Interview in 1984. As for Dean, it was love at first sight, he revealed. My first thought was, I'm going to marry that girl. My second thought was, Lord, she's good looking. Though love wasn't featured in her plans, Parton also felt an instant connection with Dean, so she invited him to visit her at her aunt and uncle's where she was staying. Dean came every day for a week, then took her to meet his parents on their first real date. As Parton has said before, Dean has only ever seen her perform once. Instead of soaking in the limelight, Dean enjoys time away from the hustle and bustle by retreating to the couple's Tennessee home. Even though Parton and Dean have been together for over half a century, people have been sceptical about their relationship. Many have wondered if Parton has been unfaithful or if Dean is even a real person at all. These thoughts all stem out of the fact that we hardly ever see Dean. But it is true that Dean is a real person, and he and Parton have enjoyed many years of marriage together. However, that doesn't mean that those years have always been happy ones. Parton opened up about a heartbreaking time in her life that put major strain on her marriage to Dean. As you may know, the two of them have never had any children, and there's a reason why. In the early 1980s, Parton experienced several years of severe gynecological problems. Doctors determined it was necessary for her to have a partial hysterectomy, and though it would fix the problems, it meant that she could never have children. But it wasn't so easy for Parton to deal with that stuff. She admitted that she sunk into a depression and cut down a number of her professional duties. All of this was enough to place strain on her relationship with Dean, but there was one more thing that further weakened the crumbling marriage. During the same time frame, Parton admits that she felt great guilt over an emotional affair she was involved in while married to Dean. While the affair never became a physical one, Parton still felt horrible for being involved in it. Consumed by feelings of sadness and guilt, she nearly did something drastic. Dolly Parton almost took her own life after a cheating scandal. The country music legend, who has been married to Carl Dean since 1966, had an affair of the heart during the 1980s, and Dolly was so overcome with guilt she considered ending her own life. Dolly was in a bad place in the early 80s. She had just had a nightmare experience working with Burt Reynolds on the 1982 movie The Best Little Whorehouse in Texas. She had received death threats that led her to cancel a tour. She had health problems, including abdominal bleeding. She gained 50 pounds from overeating. To top it off, she had a broken heart from an unidentified lover after an affair outside her open, long marriage that led her to take out a gun and consider ending her life. I don't think I'd have done it, killed myself, but I can't say for sure. Now that I've gone through that terrible moment, I can certainly understand the possibilities, even for someone solid like me, if the pain gets bad enough. Although the I Will Always Love You singer did not mention who she'd had an affair with, it is rumoured her lover may have been Greg Perry, the band leader who produced her 1982 soundtrack album, The Best Little Whorehouse in Texas. For the record, Dolly's affair was not with her assistant and close friend Judy Ogle. She has denied that they are having or had a lesbian relationship. She said she cried an ocean over it. It sounds like it was an emotional affair and may not have been consummated, though it may have been. After all, Dolly also talked about exploring her sexuality at a young age in her family's barn, saying, "I always loved sex. I never had a bad experience with it. Men are my weakness." What rescued the relationship? More than anything else, Parton credits her faith for saving her relationship with Dean. As she shared, she has relied on her faith to get her through every trial and crisis she has ever faced in life, even from the time she was young. "We know each other so well," Parton said. "I know every line in Carl's face, and he knows every hair in my wig." Despite the rocky patch in their marriage, Dolly and Dean are still together to this day, and he admitted in another excerpt she would die if he ever left her. "I always call him Daddy, and he calls me Mama, or Little Kid or Angel Cakes," she said of their loving relationship. "Sometimes he calls me Dotty to be silly." Parton's contributions to the arts and culture of the United States earned her numerous awards from organisations beyond the music and film industry. Parton's signature platinum blonde hair, twinkling blue eyes, short stature, voluptuous figure, and a southern accent may have played a part in her success. Mostly, though, her talent and pleasant personality were at the roots of her achievements. If you liked this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you are new here, and if you want to support my work, please visit my Patreon page. Now it is your turn. What do you think about the life and legacy of Dolly Parton? She's known as the Smoky Mountain Songbird, the Queen of Country, Backwoods Barbie, and the leading lady of country. But really, if someone says Dolly, you probably know who they're talking about.